Yes,
So this is one of the responsibilities. I mean, not having a Wi-Fi. I tried.
Shalom, Chag Sameach to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Today we have a special shiur for Hanukkah. You all know what's the story of Hanukkah, but briefly, I'll try to explain quickly what are we celebrating. Throughout the history, we had a lot of wars, a lot of miracles that happened to us. Okay? Still, we're celebrating Hanukkah for 8 days. We say Hallel Shalem V'bracha for 8 days. What was so special about Hanukkah that we celebrated for such a long time? So, very briefly, we know that at the time when the Greeks ruled over Israel, they started nicely. Alexander Magdon, we mentioned him last time in the show over here, was a very good king. He respected the Jewish people, he respected the rabbis of Israel. But then the kings that came after him, all the Antiochus that came after him, they already didn't like the fact that the Jewish people were so much into their religion. They had values. They cared for the family structure, they cared for Shabbat, they cared for all kinds of mitzvot. And we have 630 mitzvot. They cared about these things. Well, when they didn't have this, so they created themselves false values. What would be the false values that they created to themselves? Beauty. We know that Greek comes from Yefet. Yaft Elokim Yefet. As long as Yefet is serving Shem, his older brother Shem, where we come from, so Yefet succeeds. Once he tries to rule over, to control over Shem, this is when he falls. Once they started the war against the Jewish people, they failed. Last time in the shiur, we spoke about peer pressure. We spoke about Yachid Mul Rabim, you know, all the Al Nisim, we praise Hashem for helping us. We were so few amongst so many, all right? And that's basically what we're celebrating. They were not able to kill our spirit. They believe in working out the body. They created these competitions, Olympiada. They believed in arts, in museums, in intellectual philosophers, in all kinds of ideals. But they didn't believe in Judaism. They didn't think that Judaism is important. They tried to take our most important mitzvot and prevent the Jewish people to do that. Shabbat. So that nobody rests during the week. Nobody thinks a little bit. Nobody stops a little bit and think, what's my purpose in this world? What am I doing here? Why am I running? Shabbat, we know, is for a little bit spirituality, for listening to the rabbi, for hearing the Torah portion, for studying, for learning. They wanted to prevent that. Rosh Chodesh, they wanted to prevent holidays. Who used to declare when is going to be the holiday? The rabbis. Now we have calendars, but years ago the rabbis would declare. They didn't want the rabbis to have power. They wanted to have the power, wanted to eliminate it from our rabbis. And then Brit Milah. Brit Milah is circumcision. Brit Milah is the sign for a Jewish person. Brit Milah is for the man. He has the most desires over there, and they say, do whatever you want, no limits. Okay? And these are the things that they wanted to prevent for Am Yisrael. So in the beginning, they were nice. They were kind. They didn't do it with force. You know, we'll let you do. They just open theaters, open the parks, let people go till late hours of the night to spend time, so that they will spend less and less time in the yeshivot, less and less time learning Torah. Then when they saw that people still do not follow them, then they start to do it with force, with wars, with violence, with forcing people to be mityavnim, to be like their way. You have to understand that for 180 years they ruled over Israel. 180 years, it's a long time. Communism lasted 70 years. 180 years, it's like generations upon generations of people that cannot study Torah, cannot keep Shabbat, cannot do Brit Milah, cannot do anything. People forget. People don't know. And they went down and down and down. And then gets a group of people, okay, Matityahu and his sons, they decided they want to go against. They cannot bear it anymore. They cannot. They don't want to continue it this way, and they start to make the war. They start to make the war. They succeed all of a sudden. So we know that because the generation was so small, Hashem had to make the miracle, but they had to start first. And they started first, and they succeeded. We know that women have a very strong role in the miracle of Hanukkah. We all speak about Yehudit. Yehudit was a widow woman, very special, intelligent woman, that she saw a lot of things that she didn't like them. So she thought maybe she can do a difference, maybe she can change. She went to speak to the head of the generals over there, California, and somehow she found favor. They spoke. She served him some cheese. She served him some wine. She served him some things. He got thirsty. He fell asleep. She killed him. She killed him. She brings it to the army camp where all these soldiers are, and they see that their general is dead. They were very frightened. They scattered all over. Basically, this is how it started. The end started there. There are some other ladies that didn't listen to their decrees. We know that Brit Milah was not allowed, so they made Brit Milah to their children. Nevertheless, even they would die. Even they would be punished, even they would be put into prison, what consequences is going to be, they took it upon themselves. We see that because the women were so strong, because the women didn't let this thing to continue, the men awakened a little bit. There's a story there about the daughter of the Kohen Gadol, that she was supposed to be married. She goes to the mikveh, and there's a decree. What is the decree? Every bride, Jewish bride that gets married, first has to go to the priest, to the hegemon, to their clergy, and to be with him first, and then to go to her husband. Every Jewish woman. And she comes to her father and she says, "What is this? Why do you let this happen?" She says, "I won't let it." She did she made him realize that they were not okay, that they kept quiet and didn't do anything about this. And this is when the men awakened and started to fight. We see the same thing. Basically, they repeated on what happened in Egypt. We know that the women in Egypt were the one that helped their husbands. They were so devastated. There was such a despair time that they didn't even think about the future. They didn't think about changing, making it a difference. The women made them think a little bit. Because of righteous women, we were able to save from Egypt, and that's what happened in Hanukkah. That's what happened in Purim, but this we'll learn B'ezrat Hashem next time. כתוב, וחושך על פני תהום. Yavan, Greek, represents choshech, darkness. What is this darkness that we're talking about? Imagine to yourself, a little boy goes with his father to a Luna Park. Okay? And over there's all kinds of games, there's all kinds of interesting things. He comes next to how do you call it, the devil's caves, scary, huh? Haunted house. Yeah. And so they buy a ticket, he goes inside, usually it's dark. Dark. What do they do to make it interesting, to make it scary?
Skeletons.
All of a sudden, right, skeletons start popping out. All kind of witches, brooms, yeah, right, noises and squeaking noises and screeching and screaming and you know, you don't see, it's a tiny place, you have to go through all kind of, and they touch you and you feel it and they will put water on you and all kind of things on you and it's scary. Kids are frightened, they're afraid. So okay, for 10 minutes he's tortured this way and then they leave. He leaves and then he realizes that his kippah fell. So they go to the man in charge and they tell him, listen, my son's kippah fell, can we go and check for it? He says, sure, there's some time until a new line will form. Sure, go ahead. He puts on the lights. When he puts on the lights, these scary places look so dumb now. It's old dolls over there made from rugs and material, the dirt and dirty and full of dust and so not frightening anymore. You know, daytime when you see a home, you know, at nighttime, sparkling, it's nice, it's light and everything, it looks beautiful. Go there daytime, or God forbid to the kitchen over there, it's not so sparkly and nice like it is nighttime, right? So the same over here, he saw that it's not scary at all, there's nothing there. Yavan, Greek, were trying to show us, were trying to teach us, wanted to preach us, the world is beautiful, everything is so nice and sparkly. They believed in working out on the body. The most important thing is that your body will be nice, you will look nice, and you make competitions for this, you work out for this. The most important thing is the body. But we know that this value doesn't last. When somebody knows to run the fastest in the Olympiad, or to whatever activity is, sports it is, does it make him a better person? Does it make him more perfect? Does he work on his qualities when he does it? Does he donate or contribute anything to any people, to anybody over there? Nothing. He's working for himself basically, making himself, thinking that he is, but we know that a rabbit can run, let's say, faster than him, or a tiger can run, as the more, he tries to look like an animal in a way, try to have this curse there, but it doesn't really matter, it doesn't make him anything better, it doesn't make him special at all. So these false values that the Greeks are trying to enhance into people, all right? But these values don't last, they're nothing, they're not special. What symbolizes the miracle of Hanukkah is oil. What's special about oil? Oil doesn't mix with any other liquid. Try to mix oil with water. It always keeps its uniqueness, keeps itself separate, distant from all the other liquids. It's by himself, it's alone. That's how the Jewish people decided that no matter what, they will be stubborn, they will stand for their values, they will fight no matter what, and they will not mingle and mix with the Greeks' culture. When we do mix, God forbid, we could assimilate. And assimilation today can have lots of faces. We spoke a little bit about this when we spoke about values last time. When we assimilate, when whatever we want to do is to celebrate instead of have some spirituality. Look, in the United States or in any Western country, Hanukkah usually comes with Christmas, Festival of Lights. where outside they decorate their homes, beautiful colors, all kind of lights, all kind of statues, and beautiful, it looks like, and by us, it's just little candles, sunlight, nothing special, you know? It looks like this is so glory, this is so beautiful, this is so much impressive than those little lights. And it's true. There is a reason why we have these little lights. The idea of the Judaism is each and one of us to work on our families. If we make sure, Ner Chanukah is Ner Ish Uveito. When we try to make sure that we supervise our children, we make sure that they have good friends, we try to spend time with them, we give them good feelings, we show them love, we give them respect, whatever is needed. We invest in them in a way that we spend time with them, we learn with them, you invest, you put a lot of money into their education, they go to the best yeshivot, right? And then not only that you send them away to best yeshivot, you spend time with them, you speak about values, you speak about things. Once you have all these things, okay, so you're working on your family, you're working on your values. This is the strength of the Jewish family, where in the Gentiles, you know, it's just to the outside, not so much into the inside. When this is gone, so this is gone. We try to make Hanukkah work on us. What we learn from this, how we gain from this, what happened to our fathers 2,000 and something years ago that can help us now. What can we learn from these things? So, assimilation. We assimilate when whatever is important for us is how we look from the outside and not how we feel from the inside. We assimilate when our goals is our fame, is wealth, instead of, let's say, learning Torah, loving Torah, teaching it to our children. We assimilate when, more from anything, we want other people to envy us, to look at us, to see what kind of homes we have, what kind of cars we have, what kind of things we have, instead of Hashem should look at us and esteem us and respect us for whatever we do for Him. We assimilate when our goal is to gain the more object than possible than to gain good values. We assimilate when we're interested more in the inheritance that we get. It's more important to you to know how much your parents gave you than the heritage that you're going to give to your children. You know, what do you pass to the next generation? We assimilate when we see in our children a burden, another child, another pregnancy, another, instead of looking at him, thinking at them as a blessing. And we assimilate when the best thing that we can give our children is to grant them objects instead of giving them, teaching them values. So we have to be careful. We have good values. We shouldn't really look out there because there's nothing there to sell to us. Nothing. Rabbi Shlomo Ibn Gabirol, he lived in Spain 500 years ago, and he called on them something interesting. He says the Greek philosophy doesn't have any fruits. It just have a lot of flowers. Means it looks nice from the outside, but there's no continuation. There's no continuity to it. Agmara in Masechet Bechorot writes about an argument between Chachamei Atuna, the philosophers of Athens, Greek, and Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hanania. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hanania, one of the most wise, intelligent Tanaim that were at that time. One of the questions that they asked him was, what do you do? How do you fix a salt that gets rotten? So he answers them. You know how you fix it? With a placenta of a mule. They tell him a mule doesn't have a placenta, so he answers back, salt doesn't get rot. What does it mean exactly, this nice little example? The Greeks tried to tell to Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah that the Torah, which is the salt of life, right? The Torah, the salt is something that gives taste to the food, okay? And it not only gives taste, it preserves, okay? And it preserves food. You know, years ago we didn't have refrigerators. How would they preserve vegetables? How would they preserve meat? With salt. So they say that the Torah that was given to us so many thousands of years ago got rotten, got old-fashioned. The mitzvot, whatever were given them, doesn't fit today. Today we have modern life. Today we have different lifestyle. It's not the same like it used to be before. You have to change. You have to reform the Torah. You have to fix. You have to cut some laws. You have to, you have to be modern. Okay, and you need so you have to fix some, mix some Hellenism inside, some philosophy, cut here, cut there. Rabbi Yehoshua says no. Rabbi Yehoshua says that the Torah is the essence of life. That's the taste of life. That's the essence of life. If we mix, if we mingle all kind of things inside there, philosophy and all this, sometimes when you mix two things together, it could create a very impressive results. Like when you put together a horse and a donkey, what comes out of it? A mule. But is there any continuation to a mule? A mule doesn't have placenta. It cannot have children. That's it. You make a horse and a donkey together, it becomes a mule, and that's it. It died, it cannot produce more children. So once you want to mix all kind of things in the Torah, it could be beautiful, it could be impressive, but there's no continuation to it. Meaning, the children will not buy it. They see that it's fake. They see that it's not important. They won't keep it. They will forget about this. So once we put all kind of reforms in the Torah, that's it. That's the end of this. There's no continuation of this. So, therefore he says that the melach, that the salt never rots. The Torah never rots. The Torah is beyond, is above time and place and changes. It can never get old. It doesn't matter if the weather is changing and the atmosphere is changing, if the decade is changing. It doesn't matter. Torah is eternity. It's good for all the time. And so the Torah is the one that gives our Jewish life lots of excitement, lots of fresh things, whether it's between husband and wife or between the children. It gives the children a lot, okay, with the values and everything. We as Jewish people, we stand out, no matter where, no matter what. We always stand out. Even somebody that doesn't really look so Jewish, he stands out. And from Jewish people, you always expect something. You always expect more. It's different than from the others. Once, it was in Israel, this story, a few years ago, and a man comes into a bus. Let's say a woman comes into the bus. He sees Yudah, okay? He sees Yudah paying the bus driver. The bus driver gives Yudah a very big sum of change, too much change. He looks at him, this woman, and he wants to see, what do you do with this money? Would he return this money back or not? He looks at him. He wasn't a religious man, and he wanted to see. The religious man, this Reuben, he counts the money. He sees he gave him too much. He goes back all the way to the driver and tells him, you know, you pay me too much. This is the change. He says, oh, thank you so much. You took the money, and he goes back to sit in his place. This Yudah was very impressed. He comes to sit next to him, and he tells him, you know something? I was looking at you. I wanted to check you. Would you return the money that you got extra or not? You have to know, I'm not religious. I'm looking at you, and if you wouldn't return this money, I would be sure all the Jewish people are liars, all the religious people are liars, like they always say, you know. And so he was impressed, this Judah, and he says that he became, you know, he was looking into the Torah, into the laws, he became more strong in religion, just because a small little act, like, who would look at him? Reuben wouldn't think that somebody watches him, counts, sees everything, and see how much it impacted his life. He changed his life because of him. We never know. You're wearing a little bit longer skirt, people look at you. I want to be like that. You know, she also wants to take this example, and she wants to be like you. You never had intentions. You didn't know that by the fact that you wear a little bit longer, people look at you and decide according to this. It's amazing to see how much people can influence other people's life. Hashem gives us all the time. We have to give thanks. Yehudi, the name of Jewish people, is from the name lehodot, to give thanks and to admit. To admit the fact that I get, that I'm a Jew, that, and so on and so on. Like Yehuda admitted, you know, in the sin, that's Yehuda. Lehodot, the same words. Le'asa is apam odet Hashem, I'll give thanks to Hashem. Jewish person always have to give thanks. When you give thanks, when you see that Hashem grants you with a lot of chesed, you have to open your eyes and see only at the good. There is no other way. You have to be positive. You have to think all the chesed, all the good things that Hashem gives you during the day, during the night, throughout the year, throughout the month, through your family, through your... We have so much laws regarding this. I'll give you something, you know, they say people have to be thankful for their neighbors. Why? How would you feel if you would live in the desert? It's frightening to be all alone. Nobody's there. No. What happens if something, God forbid, happens if somebody gets into your house or there's an emergency? You have nobody to turn to. So you're so thankful whenever there are people around you, because you can turn to somebody, you can ask for help, you can share, you can talk, you can, you know, you're not alone. There are so much mitzvot, there are so much brachot, there are so much tefillot that we have to say constantly every day so that we won't get things for granted. Ramban says that we're not supposed to give thanks only on the big miracles that happen to us, but also on the small hidden miracles. Things that looks natural. Things that looks like, okay, what's the big deal? Everybody gets it. Everybody has it too. So what? Everybody gets married. So I got married too. Everybody has children. You don't think it's a miracle, you know? It's not true. It's not true. We have to think. We have to put our pink glasses to really look at the goods that Hashem gives us every day. And Hashem doesn't only give us. Hashem wants proofs from us. What kind of proofs He wants from us? Do we want this connection with Hashem? Are we interested in Hashem being in touch with us all the time? I want to tell you something. A married couple, okay? A married couple, any marriage relationship must be built on love, on connection, on communication, on intimate relationship. Because otherwise, what would keep this love? What would keep this marriage? Sometimes it happens that the couple is not so perfect. What do I mean by the couple is not so perfect? Let's say she's not the most clean woman in the world. The house is not sparkling. She's not so much into scrubbing the floors and the dishes all the time constantly. Let's say he's not so much providing. You know, instead of bringing, I don't know, 5,000 a month, he brings only 1,000. He's not a big worker. Doesn't bring so much money. Would this relationship last? If there is love, yes, it will. these things won't separate a couple. What would separate a couple, God forbid, God forbid? If he works, he provides, he brings a lot of money. If she's cleaning the house constantly all the time. If she makes food and everything is perfect for what she does. But there is no relationship, means there is no communication, there's no intimate relations, there's no respect, there's no love, then this marriage, God forbid, might collapse. Because what keeps it, there's nothing to keep it so much. Hashem wants from us proofs that we love. כתוב, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. You have to love Hashem. How do we prove Hashem that we love Him?
In the worst situation, you still try to do the best of keeping all the religion-wise. Like, let's say if something bad happens to you, you don't blame Hashem for that. Like, you keep doing it.
Okay. That's very nice, Batia. She says that when hardships come, it's not so easy, and you still do mitzvot, it shows that you love Hashem. Here's an example from the Greek time of a man by the name Yossi. Yossi was living in the town that's called Shita. And Yossi was the most lowest person in town. What do I mean lowest? He didn't care about religion. He didn't care about Judaism. He didn't care about Shabbat. He didn't care about Brit Milah. He didn't care about anything. He was such low in a way that he became mityaven, like all the Greeks. And he would rob, he would kill, he would steal, he would do all the averot, all the sins in the world. Yossi Meshita, from the city of Shita. So, Antiochus wants to get into the holy temple. But even though he's a wicked king, he's still afraid. Why? Because it's a holy temple. Who's going to get into Holy of Holiness, you know, and not be punished? He's afraid. So he asks, who dares to go into the holy temple and take and bring me from there something, you know, whatever he brings it, the first thing that he takes from the holy temple will be his. Then all the rest I'll take. Yossi didn't care because he was such a low person. He didn't care. He gets inside. What did he find? What was the most sparkling, expensive thing that he saw? He saw the menorah. He takes the menorah out. Antiochus sees the menorah. Such a big thing, such a beautiful thing. He says, you get the menorah? No. First thing is to me. Now you get in and take anything that you want, that's going to be yours. Yossi says, excuse me, you promised me that whatever I'll get first will be mine. It's mine. And Antiochus says, no, it's not yours. It fits me, the king, not you. You cannot take such a thing. Go on and take whatever you want now. Yossi said, no, I won't get inside anymore. What do you mean you won't get inside anymore? Go inside. There's other things from gold. There's other things that are very expensive, that are so valuable. You can take whatever you want. He says, on my dead body, I'm not going. So, he promises him more money, and Yossi doesn't want it. He tells him, listen, you will be in charge of collecting taxes, meaning he's a very good position now. He's going to be rich for the next, I don't know, 50 years or whatever it's going to be that he's in charge of collecting taxes. He says, no. All the taxes that you have to pay are free. I won't charge any taxes from you. No, I'm not going. So once he doesn't want to listen, they threaten him, we'll punish you. He says, I don't care. It's enough I made Hashem upset at me or angry at me one time, I won't do it again. So they start to torture him. They put him on this kind of a bed, and every time they cut one finger, Hashem Elchem. He says, I made my God upset once, I won't make it twice, I won't make it twice, I won't make it twice, and this is how we died. What do we learn? Even the lowest people, at that point, when they saw that their values or whatever they preached, or what you cannot trust him anymore, he didn't care. All of a sudden, sudden the fear of Hashem, or I don't know exactly what, get into this low person's mind. And he says, I will die on Kiddush Hashem. I don't care. Okay? This is an example of Mesirut Nefesh. There are stories of Hannah v'Shivat Banea. She had little kids. And the king says, you have to bow down to me, you have to believe in me, I'm an idol. And the kids, they're little kids, they say, no we won't, and one after the other, he kills them, until the youngest one is there, and he says, listen, I will drop my ring, you will pick it up. It looks like you're bowing down to me, but you're going to pick up this ring. Just let's make a show next to people. He said, no, I won't make this show. I don't want people to think that I'm bowing down to you. He was a 2.5-year-old boy. So much strength. Where do they have it from? So these are some proofs of Mesirut Nefesh, of loving Hashem. I want to tell you a story, not a story, it's a true thing that happened. Hopefully some of you heard it already in the past. When we speak about Hanukkah, we speak about education. Hanukkah is chinuch, like we say chinuch yeladim. There was no one in the history of the Jewish people that bought the education of her children in millions and millions and millions of money, of dollars, like the wife of Obadiah. Who was the wife of Obadiah? Time of, let's say, Eliyahu Navi, okay? He was a big prophet, Eliyahu Navi, made a lot of miracles. His student, Elisha, made even more miracles than him. Double he made. So, and Elisha, he had a student by the name of Obadiah. Time of Eliyahu Navi, the king was Achab. And Achab hated religious Jews. He was chasing after them. He wanted to kill them. So they ran away. They live in caves. This Obadiah gathered few hundreds of Bnei Nevi'im, of prophets and Bnei Torah,